Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda and this is my channel, Her Pacific Northwest Washington Life, and today I wanted to share with you my TBR for the Roll the Dice Readathon. This is a readathon that was created by Paige over at the channel Paige Nicole, and she is the owner of Creating & Co., which is a planner sticker shop. And she also has a Facebook group, which is a book club called the Creating & Co. Book Club. And I always have that link down in my description below if you would like to join. But basically, Paige loves two things. I mean, she loves a lot more, but she loves planners and stickers, and she also loves reading. So she has created a group to kind of combine those two loves. And with that, we have readathons that take place in the book club. She plans bi-monthly readathons, so ones that happen every other month, and they usually last a week. So the Roll the Dice Readathon is happening from August 24th through the 30th. And you can find for any of the photo challenges and other such things, TBRs that people post pictures of, all of that on social media at CC Roll the Dice. So as per usual, we are having photo challenges, though those haven't been shared yet. I think as we get a little closer, Paige might share those. But basically things you can expect are things like planner layouts, TBR stacks, and the like. So basically a lot of normal things that we typically do. This readathon is a little different though in that it has 12 categories instead of the normal 5. So there is supposed to be a group read, which we are still voting on, so there's still time to vote on it in the book club group if you care to join and would like to be a part of that. It looks like the top two right now are The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern and Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. So I think it's safe to say that it's going to be one of those. I know The Night Circus is the top right now, and I have already read it, so I don't plan to read it. I am interested in Ace of Shades, but I don't own any of the books currently, and I'm not at a stage where I would like to start a new series right now. So I probably, which is pretty typical for me, will not be participating in the group read, which is fine. I'm focusing on clearing out my to be read piles. I have an Audible, a Kindle, and a physical to be read pile. So pretty much everything I've picked is from there, I think, except for one. So there's a couple ways that you can do this readathon. I will leave a link to Paige's announcement video as well as her blog post down in the description box below. The way I'm going to do it is I am borrowing one of Skylar's magic dice, which actually has 20 on it. So anything from 13 to 20 I'll just re-roll. But basically, I am just going to use one of the magic dice to roll and get my prompt. And obviously, if it's one I've already read, then I'll re-roll. This worries me a little bit because I don't like to leave things up to fate so much. So not having a whole lot of control over my TBR is a little stressful for someone like me who likes to have everything planned out to the T. But I do have books picked for each of the 12 categories, and I can share with you what those books will be. I also do weekly vlogs, so there will be a vlog of this whole readathon up on my channel, and in that vlog I'll be doing my rolls, so I'm not going to predetermine what those will be yet. I can probably get 2 to 4 books read in a week, depending on what prompts happen. If I get, say, a physical book, I probably will re-roll or roll again right then and there to see if I can get an audiobook, and if not, I'll just put that as my next physical book, if that makes sense. I usually have an audiobook and a physical book going side by side, so hopefully that works out, but we shall see. It's going to be a lot of fun. to figure out what the dice decide for me. So getting into the reading prompts. The first reading prompt is to read a book with a purple cover or purple on the cover. For that, I have picked The Color Purple by Alice Walker. We've got purple in the flowers, also purple in the title. So I feel like this is very fitting. I'm not the best at giving synopses, so I think in order to keep this book, this video less rambly and a little more short, I will leave a Goodreads link for each of the books mentioned down in the description box below for you to click on if you are interested in this. But this is kind of a modern classic that I have not read, so I think will be really interesting to get to finally. The next book I have, this book and another book are going to be interchangeable depending on which prompt potentially comes up first, because I will need to read this book first because it's a part of a series. Anyway, so the second prompt is to read a book by a female author, and for that I have I Like It Like That by Cicely von Ziegler, which is, oh, it's book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think, in the Gossip Girl series. So I think at this stage, I can't remember if graduation happened. I don't think graduation happened, so I think it'll be happening in this one. Or spring break, we'll see. But definitely want to continue on with this series. The next prompt is to read a book a friend loves, and for that I have picked Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I know quite a few people on BookTube really enjoyed Skyward, but specifically my friend Darshell over at the channel Books and Planners, she really enjoyed this book. So I trust Darshell's recommendations wholeheartedly, and I have read a bit of Brandon Sanderson this year, so I think getting into his YA might be a nice little transition from his adult fantasy. The fourth prompt is to read a book that is published in 2020, and one of the group read options is published. I want to say the week of the readathon, and it might be something like The Act of Disappearing, so that might be a good one to pick. But I have picked Just Breathe by Kemi McGovern, which was actually gifted to me for my birthday by my friend Eric at the channel Break Even Books, and this deals with, I believe, a teenager that has cystic fibrosis, and I think it was this year, it might have been last year, that I read 5 Feet Apart with Eric, which also deals with teens with cystic fibrosis. So I know Eric read this recently and enjoyed it, so I've been intrigued by it to kind of see if it gives me more knowledge of cystic fibrosis than 5 Feet Apart did. So I'd like to kind of read and compare the stories. The fifth prompt is to read a book with non-human characters, and for that I have picked Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is The Battle of the Labyrinth, which is book 4 by Rick Riordan. I'm assuming there's going to be titans in this. Also, there's demigods, which are half humans. Also, potentially satyrs are going to be in this, and gods, which are not humans. So plenty of room to have non-human characters in this. I'm excited to move on with this series. I've never read Percy Jackson and the Olympians before, so this is my first time reading through as a 29-year-old adult, and I'm excited to see what other shenanigans Percy Jackson and his friends are able to get up to. Yeah, you know what I mean. The sixth prompt, halfway there, is one that I really like, and this prompt is just shop your shelf. So for this, I have picked You're the One That I Want by Cicely von Ziegler, which is then book 6. So obviously if roll 6 comes up before roll 2, I'm gonna read, what was that? I Like It Like That before I'm gonna read this one. So that's what I was saying, they were interchangeable, just because I need to read book 5 in a series before book 6. But we'll see what happens in this. They might be off to college, like I said. Yep. College acceptance letters are arriving today. When I originally read this series, like 10 years ago, this is a book I stopped on, and you can see I've got piece of paper there, which is where I stopped reading. So it'll be nice to finally get through this book to finish the series. Prompt number 7 is to read a graphic novel. I'm interpreting this as any like graphic novel, comic book, manga. I don't own any graphic novels, so I am going to be reading Vampire Knight Volume 7, which is a manga by Matsuri Hino, and just see where Yuki and Zero and the rest are at. This obviously deals with vampires. And I know this is an anime that is on Netflix. I don't know how many seasons are on Netflix, but I'm really intrigued to get through all 19 volumes of this and then go back and watch the anime. Prompt number 8 is Chance of a Lifetime, and how Paige described this is either a book where the characters get a chance of a lifetime opportunity, or a book that the characters get to do something you've always wanted to do, sort of thing. So for this, I have picked The Bookshop by Penelope Fitzgerald because the main character, Florence Green, gets a small inheritance and she risks everything to open a bookshop. And when I retire, I would love to own like a used bookstore. And so that's what I'm going to use for a chance of a lifetime. So now we get into prompt number 9, and this is set in Vegas. So it can actually be Las Vegas, or there's a couple books like, I think Ace of Shades is set in a fantasy world and the city is like Vegas. So something like that with your like casinos and kind of dark, seedy things going on, any sort of city that kind of fits that Vegas vibe or description. For this, I had no idea what to pick. I have no idea if I do know Percy Jackson and The Lightning Thief, which is the first book that I've already read, takes place a little bit in Vegas. But as far as my searching went, that's the only one that did. And other than that, I don't know if I own any fantasy books that have cities kind of like Vegas in them. So I took to Google Goodreads lists specifically to find books set in Vegas. And the one that stood out to me was The Art of Disappearing by A.V. Pochoda. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. That I don't remember about because it was between this and one other one, and I think The Art of Disappearing was the only one I could find on as an audiobook on Scribd. I was checking my library and Scribd for an audiobook, and that's the one that came up. So if I get the prompt, that's where we're going. So prompt number 10 is to read a BookTube or Bookstagram recommendation. And for this, I think it might have been last year for the NEWT's Magical Readathon that I asked for recommendations similar to A Man Called Uva. And someone recommended to me The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared by Jonas Jonasson. And so that's the one I'm going to use because I do own it on Audible. And I think you could pretty much, I mean, any of your favorite booktuber, you could watch a video of books they recommend. You can search by like book recommendation, the hashtag on Instagram, and go searching for books. This one I just want to read because I already own it. The 11th prompt is to start a series, and like I said at the beginning of this video, I already have so many series going. I don't need to start anymore. So I'm gonna bend this a little bit by finishing a series if this prompt comes up. And for that, I am going to read Winter Class by Lexa Hillier, which is part of, I don't know the series name, but it's something like Spindlefire was the first book, I think. It's just a duology. I read Spindlefire last year, and I think it's a Snow White, or not Snow White, sorry, Sleeping Beauty retelling. So I'm not exactly sure where Winterglass is going to go, but it'll be nice to have that duology all wrapped up. And the very last prompt number 12, is to read a book that contains magic. And for this, I have planned to finish another series, which is a trilogy called The Sky Weaver by Kristen Cicerelli. And this, I just started reading this series this year, actually, I think in May, maybe June. I think it was in June, which is the last Namsara. It's the Ascari Trilogy, and it deals with dragons. There's magic involved with dragons and things like that. The first book and the second book followed two different characters, so I'm not sure, but I think Skyweaver might follow another different character, which will be really interesting. I haven't read the synopsis, so I don't know. I kind of want to go into it blind. So it'll be interesting to see if the Skyweaver circles back to Asha, who is the main character in The Last Namsara, or if we follow Roa, I think was her name, which was the main character in The Caged Queen, or if we get someone completely new. I think it'll be fun to see. But basically, those are all 12 books that I have planned to potentially read for this readathon. It'll be fun to see what the dice tells me. And like I said, I will leave links to the Creating & Co. blog post as well as the announcement video down in the description box below. So that way, if you'd like to hear the other ways that you could potentially complete this readathon, you can by the creator herself. And all that good stuff. So I would love to know if you're planning on participating, and if so, what books you want to read for each prompt, if we by chance have any books that overlap. I think that'd be really fun to find out. So if you feel so inclined, please do let me know down in the comments below, and I will chat with you there until my next video. Bye!